Welcome to Doesn't Matter. I heard a few people I respect enormously, critique Elon Musk and a few other people who are pursuing colonising Mars and the Moon and orbital space and so on, saying that they should be devoting all their resources to fixing up the Earth's problems. And it showed me just the remarkable lack of lateral thinking amongst these otherwise intelligent, benevolent people. Most of the great advances that we've had in the last 100 years or more have come from war. No one wants to admit that, but it's true. Have come from war and conflict, and they've also come from exploration, probably even more so. And you can't have this eternal fountain of innovation and development and benefit to humanity if you're not exploring. And we need to keep exploring the solar system and eventually beyond. That will generate the next iterations of human culture, civilizational possibilities. We won't reach post-scarcity sitting on this planet. It won't happen. If we want to get to a point where almost anything is possible, we're not going to get there by constantly patchwork quilting the planet we live on and dealing only with the same sets of problems that this biosphere throws up. We're also going to be best able to develop more and more ideas around preserving and protecting that biosphere by going beyond it. That's imminent logic, but it seems to escape a lot of people because they're not thinking laterally. As Miyamoto Musashi says, know the way broadly and you will see it everywhere. And I feel that there is a lack of that today in knowing the way broadly. We need to go into space. We need to industrialize space as fast as we can. We need to build moon bases. We should be mining the moon. There's billions of tons of He3 on it, which is the best possible fuel for fusion, plus a load of other resources. We could be advancing humanity's cause and existence dramatically. We've had multiple near misses from very large rocks that could have changed the course of civilization. We are going to run out of luck at some point, and perhaps sooner than we think. There's a large body, a giant planet, or something like that, possibly a binary remnant, a dwarf star, we don't know, hovering on the edge of the solar system in the Kuiper Belt, and it periodically creates chaos in the trillions, quadrillions of bodies circling the solar system. And every now and then it sends showers of unpredictable bodies, comets and meteorites, plunging into the inner system. There's no way to predict it. We can't predict that. An AI would struggle, even an advanced AI in 100 years would struggle to predict that level of fuzzy complexity. So what we need is presence out there. We need sensors out there. We need stations out there. We need to be watching. And to do that, we have to have industry in space. You can't create the kind of protections the Earth needs from these foreign bodies, which are going to be an ongoing and probably eternal problem, unless you develop an industry out there to support it, to support that sensor network that you need to create, to support people who will need to go out there and ships that will need to go out there periodically as well. With NASA's DART experiment, we found that we can actually deflect significant bodies. So that's clear evidence that we can, with the right industrial development in space, we can protect this Earth from the things that have periodically caused more extinctions than anything else. The largest number of extinctions on this planet have taken place because big rocks fell from space, comets, meteors, asteroids. We don't want that. We really don't. And I think it is ostrich-like head in the sand to say we should be spending more money on the earth and not in space. If you want to have an earth with a civilized technocracy on it that supports all the progressive programs that we want, that supports our march into post-scarcity, where everyone can have everything they need and probably everything they want as well. If we want to be safe, if we want to keep all these wonderful species on this planet intact and not see them rendered extinct, then, and we'd like to spread them to other planets that are lifeless, bringing life to the lifeless. I can't imagine a better calling than that. Become, galactic gardeners. Why not? Why not? Terraforming planets and bringing life to them and creating ecologies. That's glorious. What a tremendous use of our time. And we can't do any of that if we bury our heads in the sand. We engage in subpar strategies for thriving when we could be doing much better. And we're waiting for inevitably a rock or a solar flare to finish us off. If we expand into space, we can develop technologies that are literally godlike in some respects, and we will be able to deter, deflect, or mitigate anything the universe can throw at us. But that can only happen if we exert ourselves. It's like you don't get to be a top-level athlete without sacrificing an awful lot, without putting a lot of effort in and making the necessary investments. Same with being an entrepreneur or anything like that. Make the investment. There's a price to be paid. There are things you have to give up. There are things you have to do. There's a certain degree of discomfort you have to endure and become habituated to, and that's that. And as a species, we're the same. We need to accept that if we want to progress and become better humans, evolve as a species as well as individuals, we're going to need to expand our physical reach into the solar system. There's so much wealth and knowledge, not just physical wealth, mining and stuff. There's so much knowledge waiting for us just at our fingertips in this solar system and in the elements of the universe that we can observe through our increasingly sensitive and powerful instruments. It's mind-boggling. And the effects, the knock-on effects that will have on our civilization is gargantuan. We need to do this. And the people that are advancing this, I applaud them. They're the most important people on the planet. There's no point in saving a colony of crustaceans in a Chesapeake Bay if the entire biosphere ends up being annihilated in the future by some unforeseen and unknown natural hazard that we just ignored because we didn't want to spend money off Earth. That's insane. Not only just avoiding danger, how much more could we learn by transplanting ecologies onto other bodies, onto other planets and moons, onto orbital facilities? The things that we will learn about ourselves and these other wonderful species that we share this planet with will help us save them, will help us engineer them to be more resistant to the changes on the earth that we can't stop, because there's always things you can't do anything about. I would like to see us save as many species as possible and help them prosper. And in turn, one day, learn to create new species, because we don't just have to be conservationists. We don't just have to be preservers. We can be creators. We can literally create new species. We've already created viruses and bacteriological life. We've done that in the last 2 or 3 years. We can do more, a lot more. Galactic gardeners, bringing life where there is none, creating ecologies on bodies that are airless and dead, and we could bring atmospheres and body and life to them. We could, if there's a legacy that humanity could have, it is bringing life warmth, possibility, and even thought and intellect where there wasn't any before. Why not? If we're going to be around for millions or billions of years, that will be a worthwhile goal, a worthwhile journey, and a worthwhile project. And it all starts with us being able to think a little bit beyond our own immediate needs and our own immediate fears and concerns. Vision. Where the people have no vision, the people perish. I have believed this since I was a child. It spoke to me then as it does now. You have to have vision, and your vision has to go beyond the scope of your own life and your own needs. You have to think about something bigger than yourself. That will give you faith. That will give you capacity and resilience to think of more than just yourself, to forget yourself for a while and think about the glorious potential that we have as a species, how much more knowledge and joy and understanding that we can garner from wrestling with the mysteries of the universe and going out there like grand explorers, like the grand explorers we always have been. Our ancestors got in canoes and crossed seas, even oceans, in primitive, God knows how many died. But they did, they took enormous risks. They crossed mountain ranges, not knowing if there'd be food, not knowing what was on the other side. They did these things. We must continue to do these things. We don't want to curl up in our shells like mollusks and wait to be eaten, because that is what the universe will do. It will eventually eat us because it doesn't waste anything. It recycles everything. If we're not useful in creating, if we're not mitigating harm, if we're not fighting entropy, we're going to become its victim. So let's be creators. Let's be explorers. Oos.